So, good morning, Vish Mahajan, sir. On behalf of Symbiosis Skills and Profession University, on behalf of Interdisciplinary Science Department, and on behalf of Training and Placement Department, I, Dr. Nandakumar Shinde, and Director of IDSC, Dr. Deepa Karandikar ma'am, would like to welcome you in this session. We are really pleased and we are honored to have you amongst us today. So dear students, thank you for attending session in good numbers. Today we have a very special guest for the session who is really very valuable and who has spared his very valuable just to communicate with us. Ma'am, is a session. Mata? Sir, due to some technical, can we wait for some time?
Yeah, I am here. So, question to all the people who are attending: are you able to chat? Can you, if I ask you something, you'll be able to type the message in the chat window. Just say yes in the chat window if you can hear me. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Siddhi, Nandini, Deep. Thank you, Rohan. Good. So that's our channel of communication.
Yes, sir. So, dear student, as I was mentioning, Vishwas Mahajan, sir, is a director of Visible.com. It's a project services automation SaaS platform. This software solution, Visible, is running successfully over the last 15 years and has helped over 2 lakh licensed users across 250 customers, and its presence is in India as well as in the world. So, sir is also passionate about helping young entrepreneurs and facilitating leadership in organizations. When we talk about his experience, there is a mammoth of work sir has done in his career. He is president of Visible, a project that I just mentioned. Sir is also member of Maratha Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, Pune. EC member and chairman for Startup and Incubation Committee. Sir is a member of various board of directors from various organizations, startups. Sir is also a member of Western Region Council of NASSCOM, which is one of the most prestigious organizations. He is also associated with attitude.org.in, with TIE for 6 years as global trustee, president of Pune chapter for Indus Entrepreneur and world's largest non-profit network of entrepreneurs. And one more thing to tell about you is, sir is an alumni of our Symbiosis Institute of Business Management. With this, sir has completed his education from University of Pennsylvania in programs like merger and acquisition. So dear students, we are really lucky to have such eminent personality in our panel today. So without further delay, I request sir to please start the session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Shinde. And I hope I am audible. If not, just raise your hand or send a message.
Yes, sir. Yes, you're audible.
Okay, cool. No problem. So friends, thank you. And again, it's a pleasure to be with Symbiosis again. As I said, as Dr. Shinde said, I am a Symbiosis alum. In fact, I'm wearing a t-shirt of Symbiosis, as you can see here, just for this occasion. So what I'm going to do today is, this is a rather large group, but I really want to make this session interactive. So I'm going to use, chat, and also, have a conversation, just so that, we are not kind of talking to many people at the same time. Let me ask, based on the chat I will ask someone to unmute and talk. Is that okay? This is not going to be a lecture, I can assure you that, because my idea is not to give you a lecture. As Dr. Shinde said, I have been a proud Symbiosis alumni, and have been active, in the circles of startups and entrepreneurs. And of course, I do run my own ventures, and I do invest in ventures as well, in startups as well. So that gives me, some perspective of where we are. In fact, you might be aware that startups is a big thing, and people are all looking at how we can transform our economy with this revolution. So I'm going to spend some time on this core topic of ours, which is entrepreneurship, and I'm going to give you a few things that we can do to structure, our venture, so to say, right? So are you all ready? Yeah, you can type it, you can chat, you can type in chat window.
Yes, sir. We all are ready.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. I have prepared a very simple presentation for today, and I'm going to start with that. Okay, there we go. Let me know when you are able to see my screen. Okay, if you're able to see my screen, just
Yes, sir. It's clearly visible. You can start the presentation.
Thank you. Okay, great. So I'm going to put on the slideshow mode. Okay. I'm going to see how I can see the chat. I can see the chat here. Can I see the chat here? Yeah, okay. Okay, good. So that's me at Symbiosis Skills and Professional University. So nice to talk to you. I'm just going to start this conversation with a few questions, right? Can you tell me what you plan to do after the course that you're doing? What is your goal? What are you planning to do? Just a few of you can put on the chat, please. Yeah. What are you going to do? Are you going to take up a job? Are you going to do gain experience and start a startup? Okay. Is that SYOM Deshmukh? Okay, good. Thank you. You already have a startup, Gitika. Okay, good. You like to do MBA abroad. Excellent. And you want to, Srinivas wants to do his family business after his job. Of course, Gritika, yes, you will work for your startup. Great. Okay. So already working on a startup about drones. Okay, Bigyan, awesome, great. And Neil, excellent. To pursue MTech, Chirag. Okay, good. So, so I think that's a good thing. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to tell you, what you mean, what do you do when you want to, when you're planning your career. I think a big question that all of us do need to ask is why do I want to do what I want to do? And it is very important for us to be able to answer that clearly, so that the journey that you are going to have, I'm guessing that you are 20 years old plus or minus, and today the career is pretty long. People don't even retire at 60. The health has ensured that people continue to stay healthy till well into the 70s, 80s. The second thing also happens is that there is a lot of efficiency and technology that is being deployed today in the economy, and this is going to get better. It's going to increase in exponential speed. So you can expect to be in prime working situation for next maybe 40, 50 years of your life. Now, when you do that, it is actually very important that you think through what is it that you want to do and why do you want to do what you want to do. And if those things are matching your career choices, you will have a very happy and successful life. A quick thought here is to say, when you are younger, say when you are 5 years old, just think about it to yourself. When you are 5 years younger, what was it that attracted you? What did you want to do then? Yeah. So here my question: when you are 5 years old, 6-year-old, and you were kind of feeling the world around you, what is it that you thought you want to be? Can few of you answer on the chat? When you were 5 years old or 6 years old, what did you want to be? What did you want to do in life? You were attracted to something, right? Let me see who is anybody responding? Okay, learning a pilot, design a car, make robots, fly planes. Okay, awesome. Somebody want to do sports. Okay, great. Yeah. Now, when you say you wanted to fly planes or you wanted to, be a sports person, right? Or whatever else that you thought you want to join. Somebody wanted to join Indian Army. Somebody wanted to be an actor, a pilot, right? Now it is doctor. Okay, great. So the point here is that you looked at somebody who was a pilot, who was making robots, who was a sports person, who was a doctor, who was an actor, right? You looked at that person and connected that person being a pilot or a doctor with something, right? It was, for example, in the interest of time, I'll say, for example, that somebody who wants to make robots or cars, say Chirag or Atharva, right? You saw somebody who is creative, somebody who's trying to make something from nothing, right? So what stuck with you is the core work of being creative, and that has manifested itself in the design or making skills. Now, somebody like a sports person, somebody like someone who flies planes, pilots. Now, these are very highly skilled jobs. These people they tend to be solo performers. Doctors, for example, they tend to be solo performers. They have to be really, really skilled in their work to be able to do what they're going to do. And they train a lot to achieve what they achieve. And if that's the kind of profession that you adored or you wanted to do when you were 5 or 6 years old, it tells something about your personality. It tells that you value the depth of expertise that person has. If you value the fact that people kind of respect that individual, right? Now, those are things that actually make your belief system. And that, if you now go fast forward 10 years, when you are 5 or 6, now fast forward 10 years and see what you wanted to become at that age. It is possible that this has changed, or it has even reaffirmed, depending on your experiences in life from that age to that. And this is an exercise that is I recommend you do for your own your own self, so that you know what drives you as an individual. And there are several ways of doing it, and there are lots of psychology oriented techniques that help you do that. The point is, it is not it's usually just, I'm just looking at what Neil is writing here. As you go forward, some of the other things start to matter to you. So I'll go back to my presentation and I'll say that, I'll just go back to my presentation. How do I do that? Okay. Now, how many of you have heard the word entrepreneur? I'm sure many of you have heard the word entrepreneur, right? Now, I want you to please, tell what does entrepreneur mean to you? What does the word entrepreneur mean to you? Am I having some people writing out something on the chat? Okay, that's good, awesome. So risk taker, innovator, business owner of your own organization, your own business, who sets up a business or it takes on financial risk. Awesome. You start something on your own, takes calculated risks. Absolutely. It's a creation or extraction of value. Rohan, I think that's a good definition. Creation of or extraction of value. Great. I'm really happy. So typically, what I would say is that, when I talk to students, when I talk to colleges, yes, Aman. When I talk to colleges and students, we often find that people want to take up a job. Perfectly fine. But many times, people haven't considered the possibility that they could actually do their own business, become entrepreneurs themselves. Dr. Shinde, I think there's some noise. If you can
I have muted, sir. Muted.
Thank you. Okay. So, someone who can bring solution to problem. Absolutely. I think you guys are all spot on. Okay. I think you exactly how what being an entrepreneur. I'm going to shift back to my my presentation here. Okay. So basically, what does it take to become an entrepreneur? The question is, what does it take to become an entrepreneur? What qualities does one require if you were to be an entrepreneur? And we actually saw you have answered some things around what an entrepreneur does. But if you were to be an entrepreneur, what are the qualities that you as an individual should have? Can you think of some and type it in the chat window? I'm looking at it. Absolutely. You have to have a vision for a better future. Okay, great. Financial stability, I'll talk about that. Determination, attitude of never giving up. You should be able to think out of the box. You should be a risk taker. You should have a leadership quality, always wanting to learn. You should be able to multitask. I think these are all absolutely leadership and vision. Yes. Effectively communicate, sell, focus, learn, strategize. Excellent, Rohan. Yeah, great. Hey, thank you guys. You guys are really, really, responsive. I really appreciate that. Because, as I said, I'm not going to be doing a lecture. I'm just going to have a conversation with many of you. But being a platform, online platform where, you have 200, 300 people, it's actually hard to do this, on a real-time conversation voice basis, but let's do it. I think all these things are right. Typically, I would say that entrepreneurs are not satisfied with the status quo. Okay, what is this? Chalta hai. Passion, absolutely. Thank you, Rupali. So entrepreneurs, whatever entrepreneurs I have seen, they are not satisfied with the status quo. Whatever is happening, they think that it can be done, something can be done about it, so it can be done in a better way, something that can work in a better way. Or there is a problem and it needs to be solved and nobody is solving it, or there's a problem being solved in a particular manner and you want to solve it in a more effective manner. So typically we say that entrepreneurship starts with being able to spot the problem. In our culture, I find that we are not trained to question. We are trained to accept answers as they are given to us. That's our culture, you can call it. But societies where one is encouraged to question the status quo, to question what is happening, to argue, to rebel, are cultures which produce lots of entrepreneurs. So one of the first things we do as entrepreneurs is to question the status quo. Entrepreneurs are never happy accepting the answer as it is. They want to try to better it. They want to do more. They want to be able to find newer solutions to the existing problems. Right? So finding a problem is one thing, but how to find a solution to the problem? So it is not just about finding a problem, but also finding a creative solution to the problem that you have found. So as you are already, some of you are already doing something in startups, it'll be a good idea for you to write down what is the problem you are trying to solve. Okay, and you can type it in, and I will refer to it as we go along. But important thing is identify the problem you are trying to solve and for whom. As we said before, when you try to solve a problem, you have to be able to find a customer or a entity who is going to appreciate what you're doing for them, and not only appreciate as in say good, nice things, but also be able to pay you for what you are doing for them. Because a business, as we said before, is ability to convert or create value, and that value is measured in rupees, cents, dollars, whatever it is. So on one hand, there's a problem definition. On the other hand, there is a solution. And most important part of all this is solution for whom? For the customer. So finding a customer who will be able to pay monetary value for what you are trying to do, what problem you're trying to solve, is very important. If you have a problem and you found a solution, but nobody wants to buy it, nobody wants to pay for it, then it doesn't become a venture. It doesn't become an entrepreneurial activity. So that is the first thing we need to ask, is the customer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through some of the steps in the process of creating your own enterprise. Is that okay? So I'm going to, and I'm just looking at Gritika. Gritika is saying that they are a startup student in a startup in AI and security, looking forward to hire interns company. Yeah, my question was, what is the problem you're trying to solve? Okay. Okay, Chirag. transport for daily commute, which is helpful for nature, like electric vehicles, trains, etc. So Chirag is looking to solve a problem around commute, and he wants to use environmentally friendly alternatives like electric. Great. I'm going to just okay, Gritika, you're talking about security cameras. Okay, so I think important thing is to define the problem definition becomes very important. Okay, so I'm going to just go to the next part of what I was going to say. What do entrepreneurs do? Now, once having found a problem, identified a solution and a customer, entrepreneurs have to actually connect a lot of dots to make sure that the solution that you have dreamed of, the product that you have dreamed of actually sees the light of the day, is actually being able to go to the customers. Now, for this, they need team. Everything cannot be done by that individual, right? They need to be able to identify people who can do this on their own. Do you know that just like you guys are in Symbiosis, there was a time that the founders of Google, right? You all know Google. They were studying in Stanford, right? Just like you guys are currently studying in Symbiosis, they were, many years back, they were doing the same thing in another university. The founders of Facebook were studying in another university. The founders of Microsoft were studying in another university. So, universities, or the phase in which you people are, which is being a student, is a phase where a lot of such teams get built, where you can find people who will share the vision that you have, who will share the dream that you have, so that you all together can go on that journey of being an entrepreneur. Now, first thing I said, what entrepreneurs do is they build the team. They build the team so that together they can achieve their dream. A team is necessarily not having the same people of the same caliber, of the same skill. Can you imagine an Indian cricket team with all Sachin Tendulkars, all 11 players equivalent of Sachin Tendulkars? It will be very hard to win anything, right? A team will have complementary skills. So just as there has got to be batsmen, there have got to be bowlers, there have got to be fielders, there have got to be multiple skills to make up a team. Likewise, in a business venture, for an entrepreneur, finding a team that is of different skill sets, that is of varied skill sets, becomes very important. And you don't have to look far. Talk to your friends. See if you can sell your dream to them and they find it useful. In fact, we have seen that when you can sell your dream or your idea to your friends and convince them to join you in that journey, that itself is a very important step. If you cannot convince your friends, how can you convince your customers? Right? So think of that and build teams. I always talk about this when I'm talking to the colleges, is that there are many times when colleges and universities actually measure their effectiveness by metrics that are to do with employment generation. That so many people from our college got so many jobs, so many people got campus jobs, so many people got so much salary, so much first offer and all that, right? Which is good. And I'm not saying that this is just in Symbiosis. If you go to IIT, just I was reading the other day, this IIT recruitment has started, and what they advertise is how many people got job offers, what is the average salary level, what kind of companies came to offer jobs. Now, this is a good metric. I don't disagree. But an even better metric would be to say how many people from this institute actually started their own ventures and they succeeded. Now, this metric will take time for Symbiosis or any other institute to measure. In fact, there was a study conducted by a foundation called Kaufman Foundation. Kaufman actually looked at colleges or institutions and universities in the United States and looked at where the people, the students or alumni of that institute actually created ventures and how they grew those ventures and what is the size they grew to and what is the value they created. Value is in terms of market value, in terms of their company value, their revenue, how many people they employed and everything. And they actually ranked the universities on that basis. I'm going to the details of that particular study, but the important thing there is that it's a very different way of measuring a university. So to Dr. Shinde and to Dr. Karandikar, I would actually argue that look at this kind of a metric for your own institute to track your own success. That said, I'm going to jump on to something else. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories. So this is a story of a farm. And of course, I'm going to make it, you're going to interact, okay? You're going to respond. So take a situation that I have given you, let's say 5 acres of farmland. Okay, this is mine, but I've given you and I said, go ahead and do whatever you want in that. Yeah. This is for yours to till and whatever profit you get, it's yours. If I told you that, then what would you do? So there'll be different type of people will want to do different things. And in an interactive session, I would approach this story very differently. But let me tell you what two approaches. There is a group of people who would say, look, rains will come. Let me grow grass. It will grow automatically. I have nothing to do investment. There's no investment. It will just grow by itself. I can cut the grass. The moment I cut, new grass will come. Again, very little investment. And I will be able to reap benefit from this and make revenue. Perfectly valid. But I will tell you one more thing. And I'll say, look, this farm is being given to you not for just one season or 1 year or 2 years, but for 25 years. Okay. So this farm is being given to you for 25 years. Now tell me what you will grow on that farm. Now, the question I want you to answer in chat window is whether with this new information, you will still grow grass or you will grow something else. So just write grass or something else in your chat window. Can you do that? Grass or something else. And you can write what you want to grow also, okay? Yeah, can I get some answers there? Awesome, awesome. Okay, something else, grass, okay, something else. Mixed farming to reduce risk, okay. Something else, organic farming. Okay. Anybody else? So, bamboo, because it grows faster than other, okay. Okay, so those who say something else, can you just write what that is going to be and why? fruit trees. Okay, Parth, got it. So thank you all for your answers. I think you guys are really engaged, and I'm happy that you are responding. So when you have something for a longer duration of time, you want to maximize the return during that time, right? So very good. Hydroponic is good idea, Neil. So when I say that you have this farm for 25 years, then you want to see what you can do that will generate most value over that period of time. So if I say, for example, want to grow, say, mango orchards, right? When I start year one, I will not get anything because it takes a few years before the mango trees start to fruit, right? So in the year one, there'll be nothing. Year two, there'll be nothing. Maybe year 3, 4, there'll be something. But beyond that, for the next 20 years, a mango tree is going to generate mangoes. And if you look at the value that you will create, I'm getting some interesting answers. I will let those keep coming. But my point is that over a 25-year period, if you grow mangoes and get that return, not in the first year, second year, third year, but fifth and up to 25th year, compare this output and the value and the money that you will generate versus you'll keep cutting the grass every year and generating the revenue. What is likely to be more valuable? And I will argue that doing something like this kind of fruits or mango farming may actually be more lucrative in the long run. So the story of this farm is like the story of your career. You have a long career in front of you. So you have an option to do something right now, today, next year, or you look at take a long-term view and choose your career path accordingly. One of the things that entrepreneurs do is they take a longer view of things. They are not really looking at what is the salary I'm going to get at the end of the month. It is possible that they may not make any money for the first few months, first few years. But their idea is to make so much more in the long run so that they're able to maximize the output of their farm over that long period of time. Am I making sense? Am I communicating to you?
Yes, sir, perfectly.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you so much. Okay. I will go back to my thank you for all the responses, all of you. And then I'll tell you the story of a stone cutter. I think it's a very famous story. Someone was driving on a road and he saw two people with a chisel and a hammer cutting stone. You've all heard of this story, right? When first person was asked, this person said that, what are you doing? Oh, don't you see what I'm doing? I have a chisel and a hammer and a stone in front of me. I'm cutting stone. That's what I do for a living. This is how I make my living. The second person was doing exactly the same thing, exactly the same tools. His answer was, I am trying to build a huge temple or a cathedral. Now, this is to do with the vision. It is to be able to envisage what your work is going to end up being in the larger scheme of things. Are you with me? Now, these two things, the story of a farm and the story of stonecutter, and what we actually get as learn out of that, are very important things when we try to become an entrepreneur. From the story of farm, we learned that we have to take a longer view of what are the options in front of us and choose an option that will maximize our productivity, returns, outcome, output over a long period of time rather than short period of time. And secondly, the first thing we call as delayed gratification. You must have heard this terminology called delayed gratification, which means that I'm happy, I'm okay not to receive gratification immediately. I'm willing to delay it for a larger gratification at the end. There are several studies that have been done, like kids who have been, given, and these are all studies that you can find on the net. Kids have been given a piece of cake and left in the room to themselves and said, please don't eat this. Okay, you don't eat it for 15 minutes. If the cake remains in the room and you don't eat it for 15 minutes, we'll give you 5 cakes. And different kids respond differently. Somebody just wants to eat it. Some people say, okay, they just grudge, but maybe they'll get more at the end. Some kids are willing to wait because they think that their reward at the end of this waiting period is much bigger. Now you find that entrepreneurs tend to be of the nature, and I'm not saying anything wrong or right in this. I'm just trying to point to you so that you can look at your own personality and see what is right for you. But entrepreneurs tend to delay their gratification, number one. And second point, the second story is they're able to envision the larger picture. And when they're able to envision the larger picture, they're able to tell the story around it. They're able to communicate what that will be when it is ready. Not what it is now, but what it will be when it is ready. So these are the 2 stories I want to leave you with. Typically, you ask these questions. 5 W's and 1 H, right? Why, what, who, when, where, and how. Now, the story of entrepreneurship is continuously asking these questions. When you say why, I think a very important question is, what is your personal purpose? Why do you want to do what you want to do? And we talked about that, and we talked about some of the things. And the reason we spent more time on that is because that is by far a very important criteria for you to choose what you want to do. I talked about delayed gratification, risk and rewards. The part of risk, which many of you also pointed out in your communications, in your chat windows, I think is very important. Any venture, you just add the 2 letters AD, and it's an adventure, venture and adventure. And adventure and venture have risks and have rewards. So some of you talked about taking a calculated risk. I think that's a very, very good thought process. So we have to weigh the risks of what you're trying to do. And finally, I want to say that entrepreneurship is a lifestyle choice. What I mean by that is, it's not about a job. It's about the lifestyle you choose. Now, some of you have talked that they wanted to become doctors when they grew up. Now, medical profession is a lifestyle. Teaching profession is a lifestyle. It's not just a job that pays you at the end, but it is a way in which you lead a life. In similar ways, the entrepreneurship is a lifestyle choice. Entrepreneurs tend to work hard. They tend to work for long duration, and they tend to choose what they do. They could have been maybe watching a movie, but they choose to do something else in the meanwhile, maybe talk to a customer and try to sell their product, because they are choosing that as a lifestyle. Now, that's something that you will have to think about, and how that meets your own personal agendas. What? Now, what is about product or service? What is about the problem you're trying to solve, and what you are doing to solve that problem for the customer? It's 11:16, so I'm going to wrap up in maybe next 10 minutes, okay? Because I think I have that much time only. But I'll run through this very quickly, and then, if required, we can talk again. So the what part is the product or service. Now here we are trying to identify a problem and a solution to that problem. And you should have the ability to describe all this in 30 seconds. If you're not able to, if you're not clear about what problem you're trying to solve and what is your solution, how it is solving your problem in 30 seconds, there's a chance that the person on the other end doesn't want to hear you, because there is only so much attention span that people have. So if you are looking at it, try doing this. Try describing it in 30 seconds so that it will become crisper. Your problem and solution will become crisper. So that is the what part of it. Who? Now, who are you going to sell to? Who is your customer? Who is your customer? What is the segment of your customers? Now, these are very interesting concepts, and I'm sure you are learning about it. But in the terminology, we call it, what is our total addressable market? Who is my customer? What is my total addressable market? And what is my segmented addressable market, which is TAM and SAM. You may have heard these terminologies. Now, segment is very important because you cannot say the whole of India is my market, because you don't have unlimited resources to sell your product or service to the whole of India. But it is important to create different buckets and identify the demographic, financial, locational, language, age, sex, size, something like this that will allow you to position your product to a smaller set of segment of your customers. So for example, for making toy, then kids is your segment. But kids is not just one. You have to further break it down. Kids with parents having disposable income so and so, living in cities, living in rural areas, in India, in Mumbai, in Delhi, or smaller cities in villages. These are all things we have to think through so that we can design our product or our solution to meet the requirements of these specified segments and create a product. Now, what is important is whatever customer you have chosen, it is important to identify the value proposition to that customer. So for example, if my, I give this example a lot. Let's say my product is, let's say I'm Times of India, right? Times of India newspaper. Who is my customer? Any reader who knows, who can read English, for example, can read the English edition of Times of India. Yeah. Yes. But remember, he is not the only customer. The customer for Times of India is also the advertiser. Why? Because, as you know, you pay whatever, 5 rupees or 10 rupees for a copy of Times of India. The paper that it is printed on itself is worth more than 5 rupees. Add to that the cost of printing, the cost of delivery, the cost of, just gathering all the news that you can stay engaged and actually read it through. All this is expensive. Who pays for it? Not the reader, the advertiser. Now, if I am Times of India, then for me, the advertiser is a very important segment, and I have to design my product so that it is appealing to the advertisers. Now, what appeals to the advertisers? The reader base. So if I have got lakhs of readers, advertisers are interested in advertising, and vice versa. So it's a self-fulfilling proposition in some sense. But again, what is the value proposition? So if I am an advertiser, what does Times of India give to me? And if I'm a reader, what does Times of India give to me? And if I'm a reader, and if the newspaper gets delivered to my home at 8 o'clock in the morning and not at 6 o'clock, I may not want it. I may want a different newspaper that gets delivered at 6 o'clock. So even the delivery chain is also very important stakeholder in my whole scheme of things if I am Times of India. I'm just trying to make a point so you understand how to define the customer segments, people who are getting impacted by. Also very important is competitors. who is the competitor? What are you competing against? And in this, I want to tell you that Times of India's competitor is not only Indian Express. What is the competitor for Times of India? Channel news, TV channels, right? Internet. Because the need of the customer, which is a reader, is for the news and the knowledge. Now, not only Times of India is going to give it to it, not just Times of India and its so-called direct competitor, which is say Indian Express, but the reader is going to get the product, which is the news and the information from a variety of sources. Now, potentially all these are competitors for you, and you have to see how you are working with each one of them. Channel partners, I talked to you about delivery of the newspaper. Now, if the newspaper doesn't come to me in good time, it is not of use to me. The shelf life is very, very small. So my channel partner becomes very important. When? Timing is everything. Now, this is something that I want to kind of share with you, that many times you heard of a product that was ahead of its time and it failed because you couldn't time it. You need to be having your product or service to the customer when they want it, not when you have it ready to sell. So timing is everything. If you're too early or too late, you will miss the game. Also very important is the buying cycle of your customers. If umbrellas are going to be bought during monsoon, then no point launching umbrellas in December. And now you have rains in December also, so maybe that is that's another segment. But the point is that the buying cycle of a consumer and your selling cycle has to match to be able to do this. You have to keep on top of technology trends. Today, if people are using mobiles and apps, there is very little point in coming out with a product that does not use this technology, because that is how your customers are going to look for it. And you have to also look at the demographic and sociological trends. What are those trends today? Are people mainly going into Instagram? Do they want to advertise themselves on Facebook? That's where your customers are. That's where you want to be. Demographics become very important. What age, what size, what characteristics does your customer have? Where? Location, importance of location to your business. Depending on what your business is, location can be very, very important. Typically, businesses that serve customers physically have to be located very well. Many of the businesses, and now after this lockdown, etc., have become virtual. Now, virtual business has a very important characteristic that it can serve globally. The geography is not the limitation. But if you are a restaurant, even restaurant also today is able to deliver all over the place. Or if you're a hair cutting salon, locations become important. Where is your customer? Where is your market? Where is your strategic partner? You know that if Maruti has a factory in Gurgaon, lot of the suppliers of Maruti are based in and around Gurgaon. If Tata has a factory in Pune, all your Chakan, Bhosri, Ranjangaon, all these industry areas have people who supply to Tata or Bajaj or Volkswagen, because your investor, your strategic partner, your customers are located there. Now, the how part, we discussed about why, what, who, when, where, how. Now, when you say how, this is the business model. Business model is something that describes all parts of your company that are necessary to make money, to make a success. And this is where you are going to be able to identify all these things that I have now put on the screen, which is which customer segments, what is the value proposition to that customer segment, how you are going to nurture, create and nurture the relationship with this customer, what are the activities you are going to be doing, what are the partnerships, that you look at, right? So we talked about customer segments and the value proposition. Now these two things actually match. Customer segment has a unique value proposition. Now the point is, how are you going to connect these two? That is through relationship, right? To be able to do that, what are the activities you will perform? What are the partnerships you will do, right? And what resources you will use to make sure that this happens. Now, things on the left have cost and things on the right has revenue. So a business model will connect all these dots and is a very, what I can say, a very structured way of doing it, which I recommend each one of you to look at if you are looking at that. So this is what I had to communicate actually. The slide itself has a few more things. The one part is about funding, and I saw some of you people talking about funding in the responses. And there are several ways in which people go about funding their own ventures, and I have given a few of them here. Okay, and the idea is not to give you a lot of that information right now, but to just make you aware of it. Now, the most important thing as you do this journey is to be a part of the ecosystem so that you will get mentoring, education, and you will be able to network. Now, in TIE, which is one of the organizations that I'm associated with, we do all this. So with this, I've tried to cover or suggest to you that depending on what your personal likes and dislikes are, entrepreneurship is a valid choice of career for you. And we have gone about talking about various aspects of entrepreneurship. We talked about the key criteria. Are you able to take a delayed gratification? Are you able to see a bigger picture? And are you able to work towards that, build a team, and create your business model such that you're able to succeed? So this is what I had to share with all of you today. Thank you very much for being kind, and thank you very much for staying on for about an hour with such great numbers. Dr. Shinde, I'm done with what I had to say. I'll be happy to to answer any questions, or
yes.
if
Dear
just
students,
1 hour.
if you have any questions, you please put across.
And thank you. Many of you actually responded on the chat. I couldn't address each one of you, and I'm sorry that we had to kind of rush through it. But I really appreciate your interest in staying connected and responses. And if you have any questions, actually at 11:30 I have another call. So my suggestion is, if you can share them with Dr. Shinde, I'll be happy to answer them. Yeah.
Yes, sir. We will share the questions on your email ID. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next, Vinay Mohan Khabia, our student, to propose vote of thanks.
Good morning, sir. And I would really thank you for your valuable time for this valuable session. Be it the story of a farmer or stone cutter, the 5 W's, 1 H, the entrepreneurial ecosystem, everything was so enlightening. And I personally feel that after this session, we have taken a step forward in the world of entrepreneurship. Not only me, but each and every student present here. Also, I would like to thank our Pro-Chancellor, Madam Dr. Swati Muzumdar, ma'am, for providing us with such a great platform for learning something out of the books. Thanks to Dr. Deepa Karandikar, ma'am, Director IDSC. Thanks to Dr. Nanda Kumar, sir, for this amazing opportunity for all students. Thank you all directors, faculty members, students from all schools attending the session with huge numbers. And thank you very much, Vishwas Mahajan, sir, for taking out some of your precious time in spending with us. It was a great session, and I personally would request if we could have some more sessions in the future.
Sir, Dr. Deepa Karandikar ma'am has also joined. So, ma'am, can you speak?
I was listening to his session, so it was a great session, sir. Thank you so much. And from your busy time schedule, I understand you had your personal commitments also. But thank you so much for taking out time for us. And we would really like, as when I said, we would really like to have many more sessions from your end. So on behalf of the entire SSPU team, I would really thank you. and take care, sir.
Thank you. All the best.
All the best.